Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for IDW Sonic the Hedgehog issue 46. When we last left our heroes, Amy and the girls went on a camping trip with some prototype gear from Tails, and when they got there, they learned that as a result of the metal virus, there's not enough moisture in the plant, so they're really open to burning, and also, there's a lot of people at this campsite. So anyway, the girls sort of set up their tent. There's some hijinks going on there, but later that night, everyone sits down for a not quite tarot card reading from Amy. There's a lot of simmering tension between Tangle and Jewel as a result of Jewel feeling that Tangle is just not. I think feeling that some element of their friendship has been lost since Tangle kind of joined the cast. And Tangle sort of dealing with the sudden departure of Whisper, who was left to keep the restoration safe from Mimic. More drama happens at the tarot card reading. There's something bad with Belle's reading. We don't see what it is because Belle kind of panics before just seeing Amy's face and knocks the card into the fire. Amy, though, definitively lies about the nature of that card, and Belle finds that out. Later that night, Belle goes into the woods. She hears a sound or something. It's one of those little Motobug badniks. She falls over, and her pinky, which can work as a lighter, happens to be on or something, catches the entire forest ablaze. And so now Amy, Tangle, and Jewel have to deal with that, find Belle, find the park ranger's son, who's also missing. A lot of things going on right now. Not great for anyone. A lot of good stuff, though. Anyway, let's dive right on into issue 46. Our cover here has our quartet taking a fun picture while the forest burns behind them. Great choice there. We have our story so far with the ranger giving his fire exposition, Belle's lighter, the sort of tension between Tangle and Jewel, the Motobug scaring Belle, causing her to light the forest on fire, Amy seeing the fire, and the ranger looking for his son Ashe, with Amy promising to help. We have a roll call here of Amy, Tangle, Belle, and Jewel, and we finally open on Belle waking up mid-fire. She's turning on is what's going on. She's going through her default activation phrase. I'm Belle, nice to, and she sees the fire, a couple of silhouettes in the fire as well. Meet you. Oh, fire! That's a lot of fire! Yeah, she realizes, what's going on there. Not sure what's going on with those silhouettes, though. They don't look like anyone we've seen before. It looks like three people. One of them is on top of the one on the right's head or something. I don't know who they're supposed to be, though. Oh, fire! That's a lot of fire! And we see the fire has burned Belle's hand, revealing a metal undercasing. I figured she was wood all the way through, but it looks more like she's a wooden exterior on a metal interior. And that's what's going on. That's her body makeup. The Motobug spies her in the bushes. It hasn't left. And throws some mud on the last little bit of flame on Belle's hand. Saving her, actually. The badnik saves her and looks all happy to have protected her. Belle looks at the bug. Gears and starters. You put it out. And you pulled me out of harm's way. And we see there's this whole, trail where the bug has, dragged Belle. But I thought I was the only bug that wants to help. Wait. And she then, looks at the fire, starts putting the pieces together. My hand. The lighter. I must have. And someone calls, Belle! And it's Tangle. There you are. You okay? But she sees the Motobug. Watch out! The badnik, and Belle tries to defend it. Wait! I think the little guy might have some wires crossed. He saved me from the fire. And Tangle accepts that. Good for her. She's always sort of accepting. Even with her current personal drama. That's a bug I can get behind. And Tangle notes the metal hand. Whoa, what happened to your hand? It's nothing. Doesn't hurt. But Tangle tells her, it's not nothing. Give it here. And we see Tangle, wraps it up in the same bandages that wrap up Tangle's arm. Tangle, I think I'm not quite sure what Tangle thinks that bandage is going to do. She's a robot. She doesn't, heal. But okay, it's the thought that counts, I suppose. Anyway, Belle tries to tell Tangle that like she's responsible for the fire. Tangle stops her. Tell me later. Right now, we've got a bear cub to find. And we cut back to Amy and the ranger. Amy asks, what are we working with here? And the ranger tells her, not much. This campground is overcrowded, so the road out of here isn't meant for heavy traffic. With the wind pushing the fire our way, we don't have time for that. But Amy tells them, but keeping the gates closed, that's only going to scare people. The ranger sort of, has to stay calm. We can't let things get worse. If they're open, we'll have a stampede on our hands. And Amy turns to Jewel. Any ideas, Jewel? And Jewel's just sort of nervous. It looks like Amy's sort of trying to get Jewel to sort of take charge as this leader. But Jewel sort of panics. I'm not sure. We need to coordinate, but everyone is so angry. And anger isn't quite the vibe I'm getting. It's much more panic. I think what we need to make that line work better is to have seen people react like Amy is saying, scared that the gates are closed. But it mostly works. Anyway, Amy thinks if we could get everyone together. Oh, and now we see the exact same, what we probably should have seen a page earlier to make Jewel's line work better. Hey, Ranger, you're supposed to be in charge here, right? What are you trying to do keeping us in here? You've got families, kids in danger. Open the gates. And so we see, the exact same kind of argument that Amy was having with the bear, but this time much angrier. The bear tells him, I've got a kid out there too. And the hedgehog notes, oh, I've seen him. The one with the red wisp, right? A fiery red wisp? Oh, they're accusing Ashe of starting the fire. And which I imagine will make things even worse if they learn that it's Belle, if Amy and Jewel try to take charge. Amy tries to defend him. Hey, hold on. But the civilians just sort of continue to gossip among themselves. And where is that wisp now, huh? I don't know. My son is missing. And the hedgehog snaps. And you expect us to follow your orders? And Amy and Jewel sneak off to work something out. And the fight just gets even more intense. This is my park. And the hedgehog snaps. We're getting out of here now. And Amy raises her hammer and she's got on top of the boulder and she slams it down, cracking the boulder and also extending that crack through the ground between the two. Amy yells, all right, everybody, settle down and listen up. You have every right to be scared. Of course you want to protect yourselves and your families. But the gate is closed right now for a good reason. The road is so small that if everybody tries to leave at once, we'll all get stuck here. So we see, the fact that Amy is taking this leadership role, A, love that for her, but B, makes you sort of still question her decision to give up leadership to Jewel. I understand, given where she was at the end of the Metal Virus saga, why she would personally make that choice. But, if the point was, let's let Jewel grow into a leader, let's see her, do that. Instead of here, just sort of letting Amy take control, which is what's happening now. I don't know. Maybe Jewel will continue to do more in this arc. Who knows? And if everybody tries to leave it at once, we'll all get stuck here. The hedgehog is understanding slightly, but is still not exactly happy. Okay, but that's not going to stop the fire. You got another plan? Well... And Amy sort of stops. I'm more about leading the charge, not figuring out the logistics. Okay, so we're seeing sort of... I can see the bottom of the page and kind of work out where this might be going. Back to my earlier complaints about Jewel. The hedgehog snaps, what? But I know someone who is, and she highlights Jewel, who's literally glowing. I love the background effect here, with Jewel sparkling against this sort of stylized background. Is a really neat thing. With Amy sort of, being lit in her glow. Jewel's shocked. And Amy comes up to her. So, what's the plan? Amy, I can't. And the hedgehog snaps, I'm gonna. And Amy just bites right back. You want some hammer? No? Give her a minute. So I guess this really is going to be the arc where Jewel finally sort of proves herself as a leader, which is nice. I think that's something that, given given the events of the end of the Metal Virus saga, I think is really important to have here. Anyway, no, give her a minute. And Amy tries to comfort her. What's wrong? And Jewel sort of goes on, what gives me the right to tell these people what to do? The only thing I'm good with are paperwork and rocks. I stumbled through the metal virus, then Eggman attacked, then the Zeti. The Restoration can't even keep its own people safe. I mean, Jewel you weren't really in charge of the metal virus. You were just you stumbled because you were a zombie, weren't you? Like, I get that, like, she sort of is incredibly doubting her self-worth, but also she's just wrong on some of these points. And I can't even help my best friend. Now we're getting at the real sort of emotional drama building between her and Tangle, which will have to blow up at some point. But Amy comforts her. You know what else you've been doing this whole time? Your best. You made it this far, and with every new challenge, you're getting a little stronger. Even if you don't think so yet, I'm certain you can handle this. I hope you're right, Amy. And she picks up the Master card from last issue. Sometimes you gotta take things on faith, you know? That was a glitch. There we go, we're back. Anyway, and she hands the card to Jewel. Thank you, Amy. It's what I do. So we see, I actually do kind of like this partnership. You know, Jewel's a bit more level-headed than Amy, so maybe she's better at the logistics, as Amy put it. And Amy's this sort of emotional support character for her, I guess, for lack of a better term. You know, the one who, and also just sort of the figurehead. Like, I could see, with my dream of putting Amy back in charge of everything, her serving as the sort of head of the Restoration, and Jewel maybe being like a chief advisor. You know, Amy knows what we want to do, Jewel knows how we do it, but Amy's sort of the important figurehead, I think. You know, tying in, if you've been watching my Yona videos, which you might not be, but the plan to put Yona as the sort of figurehead of the army, even though she doesn't really have the tactical experience, just to like give people a figure to rally behind while the generals do the sort of tactical work. That same kind of thing, I think, would work great with Amy and Jewel. Anyway, with that sort of comforting, Jewel takes command. Hello, thank you for your patience. If we approach this crisis as a group, we can make it through. First, anyone with a high-capacity vehicle can help get children and elders to safety. And we see that's going. They're getting, you know, babies and the elderly into the larger cars that will hopefully take them to safety. Our next priority is protecting ourselves and the forest. The ranger should have equipment for park maintenance that we can use, and we see people getting shovels from the ranger. We don't have the resources to put out the fire, but we can create a perimeter to contain its spread. I can't promise everything will go perfectly, but together we've got a fighting chance. And we see, we cut back to Tangle and the gang. Tangle sort of covering her mouth. Belle asks her, Tangle, are you sure you're okay? And Tangle we see is getting sort of exhausted, but just sort of quips, yeah, it's just a side effect of having lungs. And Belle sort of tries to comfort her. Looks like the smoke might be thinner over there. And they see this sort of valley, and on the other side, they see a figure. Oh, wow. And Tangle points out, look, it's the ranger's kid, Ashe. And Tangle, like, slides down the hill. Belle tells her, watch your step. I'm not going to let a little loose dirt, that's a good tongue twister, stop, and then she coughs, and the two of them now together start sliding down the hill as Tangle breaks into a coughing fit. Along with the Motobug, who rolls over to Belle to have Belle sit on it as a sort of, like, taking a ride down. And with that place of, like, safety, she sort of holds on to Tangle. Don't let go. I gotcha. So then Tangle jumps onto the Motobug with them, and Tangle notes, okay, moving fast, can't stop, and they're coming towards a steeper dip in the valley. Oh, can't stop, what are we gonna, okay, so Belle gives Tangle her tail, I guess through the kick things, which might propel them off the ledge somehow. When I say pull, and they get closer and closer to the ledge, and Belle finally gives the order, pull! And her feet go down, I guess far enough to the base of the Motobug, propelling them over the cliffs, over the valley, to the other side. And Belle notes, but they're falling before they can get there. We're not gonna make it! But Tangle has her own plan. My turn. and she whips her tail up to a rock by Ashe, shocking Ashe, and Tangle flips all three of them up. They all land. The Motobug makes it mostly okay. Belle is like face first. Tangle is grasping for something, and just lands on her face. Ashe is shocked at the sudden appearance. Who? And Belle gets up, ready to be helpful. It's Ashe, right? We're here to help. I'm Belle. Nice to... But Ashe, I'm assuming, sees the badnik, who's sort of apologetic there. I like the look in its eyes. But he freaks out. Don't hurt us! I don't want to fight! And Belle just tells him, listen to me carefully. This is very important. And she squeezes her nose and lets out this little honk sound. And Ashe laughs. I love the sort of de-escalation she does with this kid. It's really, really cute. And Belle asks, do you think you can remember that? And Tangle has seen all this, literally glowing. Funny clown nose. And Belle looks back at her. If you tell anyone, I will disassemble your bicycle and hide every piece. Love that bit. Anyway, we see Belle talks to Ashe. Ashe, were you out here when the fire started? It wasn't us. Red Hot and I were good. I saw who did it. It was a lady with big spikes and a boy my size. That lady made lightning with her hands. That's what started the fire. Okay, so here's the thing. Here's the thing to note, is that if you have been keeping up with the news, you'll have seen the Imposter Syndrome first issue cover. I'm going to go pull it up now. Just look it up on the wiki. Or, it's not on the page itself, but if you scroll down to the wiki, to the IDW publishing issues, go to miniseries, hit Imposter Syndrome, you can see a little bit. And you can see our lady with the big spikes, who looks kind of like the Archie Comics Bunny Rabbit, I think. I mean, I never got super deep into the Archie comics, but that's the vibe it distinctly gives off. And so that means, though, that this is tying into Imposter Syndrome. Important to note is that we're nearing the end of this issue, and Imposter Syndrome's first issue comes out well before next issue, which is like 2 months away. Imposter Syndrome comes out in mid-November, which means this is all tying together for our big road to 50, is the important thing. This arc and Imposter Syndrome, and I think this arc ends next issue, so even the next arc too, are all sort of... We're starting to see how they're sort of interwoven. But also, these were definitely the figures we saw at the very, very start of the issue, sort of looming over Belle for a sec. Which means maybe I was wrong about that being I thought you can see what I think now is like like you see the ears here, and it might be like an up ponytail or something. And I thought the ears and the ponytail were a third person. But looking at that compared to this descriptor, I think it's just the two of them. I was wrong there. But anyway, we're getting into Imposter Syndrome stuff. I'm assuming that's going to be set before this, though. In the same way, or like in the same way that bad guys in CRAVB were sort of, you had to kind of read them in order to get the full effect, but bad guys was distinctly before CRAVB. I don't know. The lady made lightning with her hands. That's what started the fire. So also my other thing is that it sort of lets Belle off the hook. She doesn't really have to deal with all that, which given how much Belle has to deal with generally, I guess is nice, but it sort of is kind of not quite a letdown, but sort of letting her off a little easy. Would have been, no, I take that back. Belle has enough on her plate. She does not need even more to feel bad about. Anyway, Belle reacts, so it wasn't me. And Tangle sort of thinks, a lady throwing around lightning? That's a new one. And Belle tells her that she was actually conscious enough to register what happened at the beginning. I saw two people fitting that description too, walking through the fire. And Ashe asks them, you believe me? And Belle holds out her hand, he takes it. Of course. Now let's get you back to your dad, okay? Can you help us do that? Okay. And they all head on their way. If we follow the river downstream, this is Ashe, it'll lead back. Me and Red Hot come up here all the time. And Belle sort of agrees it's better than the fire. And Tangle marches on, then downstream it is. And just then, one of the trees next to them just spontaneously catches fire and starts to split, falling right onto Belle and Ashe, or falling right towards Belle and Ashe. Tangle calls, "Watch out!" And she grabs the two of them right as the tree crashes. And the impact knocks poor Motobug right off the edge of the cliff. Or not! Motobug survives, which is good. And he's happy to have survived, but he sees it actually did knock Tangle and the gang off the cliff, barely holding on thanks to Tangle's tail. Also, Red Hot is sort of floating around them. They're in a tight spot there, but they're safe. Tangle notes, close one. But then the ground where that tree hit starts to crack, and it splinters. The tree falls, not really grabbing the land that they're on, it looks like. But Belle calls, "Tangle, I know dang it!" But the tree does knock poor little Motobug off the edge and finally takes a bit of land with Tangle's tail on it, sending them all plummeting into the river far, far below. Next time, have a nice trip. See you next fall. We have our two other covers with sort of Belle in this leadership role. Amy just sort of being charismatic, I guess. Tangle ready to go, and Belle and her Motobug. It's a cute little alternate cover. Or is that the next time cover? That is the next time cover. My bad. Anyway, let's talk this issue, because we got a lot of things going on here. I suppose the most important thing is the imposter syndrome setup. Not quite introducing our two imposters that Starline has been working on. If I'm right about the plot of imposter syndrome, we'll see next month, I suppose. But at least introducing their presence. They're around and they're starting this fire for some reason. Not quite sure why. Like, what is their goal? Like, maybe it's specifically... No, because I think Starline got everything he wanted from Belle. But I was about to say maybe they were after Belle. But I don't think that's right, given what happened back in 44. I think Starline's pretty much done with Belle for now. But yeah, the stuff with Tangle and Belle is mostly just sort of fun adventure stuff. At least until we get that sort of setup for imposter syndrome. And then, of course, the drama with the tree, sort of slowly leading to everyone falling into the abyss. But not that much in terms of character stuff. Certainly not the sort of drama with the cards from last month or 2 weeks ago, I guess. The real sort of character work comes in the Amy and Jewel scene. A sort of panic over the closed gates is sort of bringing everything to a fever pitch. And Amy just forces them to shut up and let Jewel think of a plan. And she comes up with a pretty good one. It's not perfect. It's not, guaranteed to work. It sort of is based on the assumption that people will help out, which they do, thankfully. I feel like that's the point where the two of them should have been, like, flaunting their restoration bona fides. Like, yeah, we protect people for a living. You can trust us on this. But it does end up working anyway. Get the people get as many people as we can out of here. Specifically the children and elders who can't really help with anything, make them leave. While the rest of us who are able-bodied adults sort of do what we can to protect ourselves. And maybe that's just a sort of, once they're gone, there'll be few enough. This is sort of a temporary measure. And once they're gone, the roads will be clear enough that the rest of us can go too. Maybe it's not quite clear, but it's better than nothing. At least some people get out alive if everything goes to shit. The real important thing is sort of this Jewel-Tangle conversation. As Jewel reminds her that, she's been growing and growing as a leader all throughout. I wish we kind of got to see more of that, because we don't really see a lot of Jewel leading. But at least it's easy enough to believe that it's been happening, right? It's that sort of thing. Where I wish we got to see it in step by step, but it's clearly happening, so it's fine enough. And an actual positive outcome of the tarot cards, which, considering everything else going on with the tarot cards, is good. It's good that Amy has a win, especially given where was I? Especially given Jewel's initial deep doubt of the tarot cards. It's nice that it's that tarot card that kind of gives her the resolve to lead. It's all nice stuff. And then we have that fun little adventure with Tangle and Belle, leading to that cliffhanger. And I think we're off for, let me double check. Because it's a while. It's like sometime in December, I think. Yeah, the 22nd of December, which is a long, long way away. Imposter Syndrome is thankfully much closer. It's November 17th, which is 3 weeks, I want to say. But for now, this is really where we're sort of stuck. Tangle, Belle, and Ashe sort of falling to their demise. They'll probably survive somehow. And Jewel starting to really get a chance to come in as a leader from our perspective. We never really gotten to see her do that before. But yeah, a lot of good stuff, and I can't wait to see how all of this kind of wraps up. So I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video issue and the video itself. And if you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe. You know, do whatever makes you happy, you know? And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!